Hello. Hello, everybody.
Wow. Zilfer, let's
Hello.
go. That's right. M3
Hello.
Stout.
Hello.
Painting Bites.
Hi.
Guy. Welcome in,
Hello.
everybody. And by everybody, I mean all of you.
All of you. Except that one guy.
Except for that one guy, which is non-existent because I love all of you. There you go. I said it out loud. You like that? Okay, I'm
Where's your
bringing up
outside
both of
voice,
my
Chris?
chats. CJ, what's up? Mo, what's going on? Travel Cedric, greetings and salutations. Ooh, proper. I'm gonna put my uniform on and switch over to the painting scene because I should do that because Jason's painting.
Chris just informed me
That we're painting.
what a horrible human I am
Horrible.
because I did so much of this guy
on the
off stream
on the hobby and
on the
hang.
hobby and hang.
There's
so
nothing wrong
technically,
with
I
that.
guess that's a promotion for the hobby and hang. If you want to see where the real work gets done, although there was me painting to avoid the
I'm so
nonsense of
sorry.
Chris and Philip.
I drove home that night. I'm like, wow.
It was a lot of nonsense.
No wonder Jason's so good at painting now
Yeah,
because he has to paint through the
I
ridiculous
got to
storm
deal
of
with you idiots.
after hour Philip and Christopher,
100%.
which gets real silly.
100% idiocy.
I have to let it out, chat.
Do you though?
I do. Sometimes I got to be silly.
But do you though?
Zilfer says, speaking of
Idiocy.
welcome, Zilfer says, speaking of welcoming in everybody.
Hello.
What's going on? Chris, you were throwing shade Friday, says Avian. I was. No, I wasn't throwing shade. I was a good man. Right?
Lies.
I think I was good.
Lies.
And by good, I mean...
Horrible.
Wired says, happy Canadian Thanksgiving, folks?
What? Too early.
Is Canadian Thanksgiving... What's the joke here? Is that a real joke? Or
No, they really do have a Thanksgiving Day.
Is that...
They copy everything we do.
Is that... I know, I legitimately, I did not realize that. Is that me? Am I not cultured? Oh, maybe I'm not. Folks, when Chris is in the hobby hangout yesterday, 100% more saying yes, Avian. There were, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Jason, do they act that way during work hours too?
Oh, yeah.
I would say...
You see what my biggest headache is? Chat? When I say you see what I have to deal with, I don't think you know how deep it goes.
I think
that the problem is, if it were just here on stream, then it would be, there'd be some fun and some levity, and it's like, ha ha ha, Chris, that's so funny. But it's because it starts at literally 7:30 in the morning, and it goes with some of these people until like 5:30 in the evening.
No, I don't do that. I'm very business oriented when I'm working. When I'm on that treadmill, I'm working. You have to admit. Adam says, literally just got home from buying Procro base set as well as the Vince and Ninjon set. Now running through the Blood Angels workup.
Welcome.
Wow. That's awesome. Adam, where'd you get them?
Sugar Rush says, what is Chris lying about today?
Me?
I mean...
I've never lied in my entire life.
Are his lips moving? That's a big one.
Painting bites.
Out of nowhere. Somebody had asked about brush-on primer.
Yes. Let's go back up.
Can you walk through how the brush-on primer works? It's really simple. You treat it like a paint. You paint it over plastic models or resin. You just use it as your primer layer. You just use a brush. The brush can only be really damp. You don't thin the primer, just with a damp brush and brush it on. It's primer that you can take with you. So really the inspiration is that, I go to a lot of shows, and at the shows, if you want to pick up a new model, sometimes that's a real beast because you're like, I want to paint it. And you can go to shows and they can have like a paint station, but primer's always tough. Some shows have rattle cans, some don't have anything. You got to figure it out. It's also great for touching up. If you're like me and you handle your models heavily while you're painting, you can rub like the primer off the base. Like I don't prime the whole base ring here because I know that I'm going to just hold it there for most of the time.
Yeah.
And so at the end, before I paint this, I'll do the black brush on primer there. And that'll help a ton.
I'll let you read
Painting
that
by don't worry about the long question. We don't read so well. So
and by read, I mean...
It takes us a minute to do the copy paste into Google text to speech. So in the background, I have to, if every now and then you have a long one and you see me going like this, It's because Google's asking the question to me. So. I have a few questions regarding Scale Model Challenge. Oh, yeah, awesome. So we will be there.
Yes.
Will you be selling your miniatures from the U.S. store, like the texture trainers, including the Kieran, and will you be able to have a chance to buy it on Sunday because you can't make it on Saturday? I believe so. All of the stock went over there, and I believe we have all. I don't know about the Kieran, but we'll check. It should be.
Hey, you never apologize for those long questions.
They should have Wizard's Butt as well. I'll be at Scale Model Challenge, and I believe we have some Wizard's Butt for both Scale Model Challenge and for Spiel. Now, if the Wizard's Butt lasts, is always a tough one. It depends on how many people know. That typically goes very quick.
I won't be painting an org source. I did lie to you about that one.
That's a rat ogre, not org.
Rat ogre, sorry. Chris, I picked up them all from Mythic Games. Okay, cool. I'm so glad you picked them up.
Sugar Rush, thank you. What's up, nerds? What's up, Fuse? Wait, that's me. How those framables coming? We're waiting on a quote back from production right now.
Tommy Front Seat, welcome in. Awkwardish, and there it is. We're caught up.
What?
Jason, what are you doing today?
I'm painting.
Gosh, if you said anything different, I don't know what I'd do with my life.
I'm going to do some painting.
I'd be very confused.
We're working on our Dawn Guard, whatever the hell these guys are called.
I think we've determined they're called Dawn Guard.
Host? Dawn Guard Sentinels? I don't remember.
They're
Dawn Guard something or others.
No, they're Dawn Guard.
Dawn Guard.
Dawn.
Dan.
D-O-N.
Dan. Dan Guard.
I'm
the
glad
Dawn
you...
God.
Source, I don't think Jason's gonna paint a rat orger anytime soon. I'm sorry. Darn Guard. There it is. Darn Guard.
Damn Darn Guard.
So you're painting a lot of the gold on these guys, though.
I got most of it done. I don't remember when I did it.
You did it on Friday.
Okay.
You were in the zone over here.
Okay.
Because you had to phase out what was going on over there.
Is it like zoom in close on the studs? I hate painting studs, but they look so good when you get them on there.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of secondary reflection on the studs. I dig them. It's fun.
Yeah.
They just are, they're time hogs when you're trying to go fast. But pretty cool.
I would say that's pretty dang cool, Jason.
Pretty cool.
Things got wild post Dragonfall, but I'm actually able to chill and chat today, says Awkwardish. Well,
nice.
Hey, Dragonfall's a con, isn't it?
Nice. I guess I'm
Roadside
painting...
Miniature says, I have a question.
I have an answer.
I'm working on a TMNT diorama, and I'll be starting working on the Mikey soon. What would be a recommendation for getting his particular orange? A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
You're not going to like my answer.
Uh-oh.
At all. You're not going to like my answer at all.
Oh, no. Not a fan?
All Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have red.
What? Why is that? I don't get it.
There is no orange. Only red.
Oh, Zeno says it's red. They're all red. It's red.
They only have red. This
Is
is
that
not a place that recognizes multicolored 3-year-old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, is that a thing? I'm so lost.
So when Nintendo got the rights or whatever from Mirage Press,
okay,
it was a very adult comic when it first came out.
Okay,
and all of them, it was black and white, and there would just be flashes of red for all of the bandanas that they wore, right? Their ninja shrouds. And that's the way it was always, in a purist sense, right? That's actually... but then they changed them all to have their own individual colors, because they all look exactly the same. The only difference with them is their weapons that they choose to use.
Okay.
And so they gave them colors so that when they made a TV show and all that, you could tell who was who. Okay.
I see.
Make sense?
Yep. And you're saying all red. No orange.
They're all red, no orange.
Roadside Miniatures. I'm basing on the 80s cartoon, not the original comics. Okay.
Don't know how to help you.
Oh no, Roadside. I would go with orange.
Again, if you're trying to match something, unfortunately, I don't know the color orange, so I'm not lying to you.
Oh, let's see.
I do, I do kind of tongue in cheek the whole they're red. The orange you should use is red, but I would think that in doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you're doing the bright, vibrant color of the cartoons, right? Yeah, then I think that you're probably doing some type of a yellow glaze over the top of orange because it's really desaturated.
Yeah, actually, the original one, those are the OGs right there on screen. Well, not the OOGs, but interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think something like Nova Orange with a glaze of yellow over the top would be really good. Because it's just not super orange. It's very desaturated. Not quite like a sherbet orange or anything, but close. I think it just is a little bit warmer than that, right? So you don't want to do like a white addition to desaturate it. You want to do like a yellow glaze over the top of your orange to bring it back to basically a orangey yellow kind of a feel overall.
Source says Jason was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before color was invented. Wow.
My Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles weren't on TV. They didn't say cowabunga and eat pizza.
What? No.
They killed people, and there was lots of blood in the
That's what Mo said. They killed people and no pizza involved. Wow.
You got to remember, it is a big difference. It's a very big sticking point for people because it was such a sellout back in the day to take what we had really become fond of as this. Because what made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles so crazy was that it came out in a time where there was nothing really like that in comic books.
Yeah.
Number one, the black and white was jarring because most everything was in color.
Interesting.
And Mirage Press with Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. I actually did some drawing with Mirage Press on a project called Turtle Soup that they did. So turtles are very near and dear to my heart. When we were doing the comic book stream, I pulled out a bunch of the original oversized ones because he might tell the story different now, but back in the day, their comics were oversized because the only printing place they could afford didn't have comic-sized paper and cutting machines. They only printed to this larger magazine, kind of like Newsweek style. And so their stuff was in the bigger format because that was all this place did. They couldn't do the small comic size. And so their larger format, black and white, very adult. I say very adult. I mean, not like X-rated adult, but very R-rated, bloody. Casey Jones was brutal, the stuff was brutal. The foot were brutal. People died. It was rough.
It's definitely
but it was
different.
cartoony turtles,
Right.
and named after historic painters, right? And then it just kind of went away, and it became this property that had cartoons and cowabunga eating pizza.
So you were a big fan of them before, obviously.
Yeah.
That would be cool to paint.
They went back to that though over the years, like the Raphael, the Last Ronin series. I think they're turning into a movie, but it's pretty brutal.
Interesting.
So,
wow.
No, it never got published. I think they only did one issue of Turtle Soup. Avian, unless they printed more, but it wouldn't have had my stuff in it. That was a very volatile time for Mirage. They were doing stuff with a lot of the other indie places like Bone maybe, or Usagi Yojimbo, the rabbit samurai guy. Hey, I'm trying to apply your pearlescent buildup from Sanguinius, but to a dragon mini. Yeah. Awesome. You state the final white layer you use is thin down transparent white. Yes. Swinging and swift. I have not gone back over it with the titanium white for the edge highlighting on that. I would normally go back with bold titanium white, a little thin, to start doing the edge highlighting and very bright details on it. But it's the transparent white. White via the airbrush. Yep. If you brush apply, do you have to do each individual scale? If you brush apply the white, no. Interesting question. Because when I airbrush, I'm using it at an angle so that some of the shaded areas will remain like the darker purples and magentas and such, right? so that when we do this, if we look from the top, right, it has more of the whitish overlay. But when you turn it to the bottom, see how you still have the shadows that are darker? You want to keep that. So if you were to just brush paint the transparent white and slop it on like a wash, it would cause you problems because it would go in the recesses and brighten things up a little bit. When I'm airbrushing, I do it like this, looking at the model like this. So it's only hitting those surfaces, and the surfaces like this are darker. So I would say if you're doing it, you might not need to do every individual scale, but you just don't want to get it too deep into the recesses to get rid of your shadows, right? And this one I can tell I would need to go back and do more transparent white on, because as I'm looking at it today, it's too much color in these areas. You know, we started doing the build up on it, and then we broke the wing off and
it was a process.
Redid the arm so that we could start on the gold. And then I put him to the side because I'm like, I might change all the gold armor anyway to match these guys.
Yeah, they might be
there's
their
a
own
lot
thing.
going on with Sanguinius.
Meticulous Chaos got a great one. Greetings, Monument Crew. Just jumped into Star Wars Legion Republic.
Awesome.
What would be your preferred quick white clone armor workup? Would you wash or noosh?
You could wash or noosh the white afterwards. I really like the whole like dark neutral gray into the blue grayish colors, like almost like we did the Tau workup.
Yeah.
If you can link them that.
Yep.
That white without painting white is a great way to do Stormtroopers if you're going fast. And then you can put like a noosh on there if you want them really dirty and downtrodden looking, or a wash to do the same but not as intense. Again, the wash or noosh question is always, what do you want them to look like? How beat up, how environmentally abused do you want them? Because both of those could do. I tend to think that noosh does a heavier weathering job than the others, especially at small scale, because it's harder to wipe it all off of, like than on the side of a tank. You put noosh on the side of a tank, you can control how much or little you get. The smaller the scale of the model is, the more recesses there are. If you go back to the paint cam, the more recesses there are for noosh to get caught in, and so it's going to give more material, more color to the model. The smaller the scale, the more detailed it is. But it could be used. You could thin it down and get a lot more off of it. Ahoy from Canada! Thank you. I'm glad
sweet.
They're working for you.
And hey, thank you so much for that sub too, Don.
I love this. Don't you love it? Get it? Don't you love it? Chris, don't you love it?
Don't you love it?
Don't you love it?
Don't you love it?
I have to catch these things, Don.
Thank you. I'm so...
Chris is like, thanks, Don. It's Don Chulovit.
You love it. Don't you love it?
Chulovit is a Middle Eastern name, right?
Don Chulovit.
Chulovit.
Don Chulovit. Don Chulovit. There you go. Don't you love it?
I used the Tau workup on my Stormtrooper. I really like the way it worked out. It's great. That overly blue start, I think, works really, really well for Stormtroopers, but then also weathers well if you put like a brown wash or the brown gray or the petroleum wash over the top that gives it a grittiness. I like those cool shadows on white. That bluish gray shadow on white works really, really well.
A cool shadow. Like cool.
It's a Pop Chicken says, oh, hey, Chris.
Whoa!
That's what it sounds like when you pop a chicken. You've created something beautiful today, don't you love it?
Don't you love it?
Oh, God.
Don't you love it? Of course I do love it. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? Don't you love it? And ladies and gentlemen, we've created
a
magic.
Monster. That's called a monster.
Don't you love it?
That's never going to stop.
I don't even know what accent I'm
That's
using
gonna
right
hurt.
now. It's kind of
That's
like
literally going to hurt. It's going to cause me physical pain.
Don't you love it? Right, with a fake Spanish accent, it works
Thanks.
perfectly. No, I'm thinking of like
Thanks.
Swedish Viking.
I love the internet. When could we expect to have a bottle of eclectic salmon at home? Hopefully sometime beginning of the year-ish. I don't know.
Rattlecan says you should...
Don, you created a monster. Yes.
Thank you,
I
Don.
blame Don.
Don, thank you. And
don't
good
thank
night.
him. Don't do that.
Rattlecan, you were mentioning you should make an exclusive Wizard's bum for the EU peeps instead of Wizard's butt. Wizard bum. I'll show you a wizard's bum. What? Chris, how is the chemistry? Oh, yes. NKH, this is a beautiful question. Chris, how is the chemistry of Olive Flesh 2 coming along for the workup set? I would like you to imagine Olive Flesh, right?
But more.
But the second version. There you go. That's it.
It's Olive Flesh, just more.
It's Olive Flesh 2.0.
The Reckoning. The Re-Reckoning.
It's the FAQ updated version of Olive Flesh, which is just Olive Flesh. There could be. We could do a whole PDF on it. Oh. So is that, what color are you using there? Is that coal black or satin black?
Coal black. Coal black.
Are those going to be a different color? Well, obviously they're going to be what color are those going to be?
Black.
They're going to be black.
Yeah, that's why I'm painting black.
Okay, all right, mister. I see what you're doing. Cocktail Olive Flesh. No.
Yeah, I'm doing the black. I think on on this guy, we did his black.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Including even the teardrop.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So on these guys, I'm going to do black, but with like a red teardrop maybe. And then the laurel for the veteran's laurel on the other one. Unfortunately, I got the veteran laurel shoulder plates late, so my first veteran doesn't have one.
Now,
this is a really weird army. There's just going to be a lot of strange stuff happening.
That's okay. We like strange stuff. And M3 Stout has a question. I'm going to have to hang my head down low here.
In shame?
What is Wizard's Butt? Is it a paint color or a mystery color? Jason, can you give us a elevator pitch on Wizard's Butt for those? Actually, you know what, M3 Stout? I bet you a lot of people don't know that, so that's a good question. We can't always assume, but Jason, what's Wizard's Butt?
Wizard's Butt is our friendly poking at the naming conventions that our industry has chosen to take over the years on naming paint colors. Because when you look at a paint bottle and it says, Necromancer Cloak was always one of my favorites. Like, what color is that?
It's the color of a necromancer's cloak, Jason. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, exactly, right? It's exactly the color of the cloak. Everybody knows that necromancers have a closet full of cloaks. And so what a stupid name for paint. And so, yeah, so it was just us feeding back to that whole thing. It was like, I mean, that's just dumb. It's like goblin flesh. What is that? I assume it's a green. I don't know. And so what we did is we made Wizard's Butt, and it is a paint that is whatever color we want it to be at the time we make the bottle. Literally. And production gets some fun with it. Our production team will take some of the leftover pigments and paint from production runs, and they will then mix it up, and you will get Wizard's Butt. And so you have Wizard's Butt, and it all has the same SKU, MPA Butt, right? Same barcode, same everything, same label, right? But you never know what color it's going to be. It could be a red, right? It could be a purple. So we just make these random colors, and then we do them as giveaways occasionally, and we do them mostly at conventions. So if you come by a convention and you take a photo with us and tag it out in your social media page and stuff, then we'll give you a Wizard's Butt, show us a model that you painted with all pro acryl, and post that up, tagging us. We'll give you a Wizard's Butt. So that kind of fun stuff.
That's what Wizard's Butt is. M3 Stout, great question.
Just a fun way to kind of point a gag back at ourselves as an industry.
Okay, where it is. Gonlin says, any advice on painting white armor, Fulgrim? The palette of the figure is purple/violet, green, yellow, and floral magenta. I'm trying to figure out a way to paint smooth white. I've got a great video for you.
Yeah.
Gonlin, check this video out right here.
And again, I think the white from the bluish grays works well with any color palette, although there is an argument to be made when painting something like Fulgrim that you could start from a more purplish base. Depends on how you've painted him. If you wanted to tie it all in. Magenta's hard to get to white from. It always tends to feel a little pink to me, but it's not impossible. You just need to have a really good understanding of color in order to make that one work.
Adam says, what do you think about Games Workshop price hike in 2025, October?
I mean, they do it every year.
Yeah, it's not a
anything new.
Surprise.
I think that right now there's a lot of pressure on companies due to rising costs around the globe, not just U.S. tariffs and stuff, but just in general. Pay raises, raw material costs if you're a manufacturer, plastic and steel and all of that is going up ridiculously. So it's tough. We talk about it around here, right? The part about running a business that always isn't always the fun part is the part talking about, okay, what do we do if costs are skyrocketing? Well, we can raise the price of the product. You can lay a bunch of people off to control expenses. That's usually your two biggest expenses are personnel and rent, right? Generally. And so, you can't really get rid of your expenses. Monument Hobbies doesn't treat people like a commodity. We don't like to, so we always try to find efficiencies in other ways. But yeah, raising prices is never the thing I think a company really wants to do. I think we get drug kicking and screaming into it occasionally where it's like, well, there's no other way. But GW does it more often. I think it's part of their plan. I think that as a publicly traded company, they probably are up against some notion of expected profitability every year, and they have to hit that target, and so there's a little more pressure there. They're also usually very good about not doing layoffs. You may not hear great things about working there. I loved working at GW. But I feel like they want to not do that. I think that should be the last place companies turn. I think everybody obviously gets a really bad taste in their mouth when the first thing a company does, record high profits, but not enough net profit, and they lay off 5,000 people or something. Yeah. The video game industry is notorious for that lately, which really sucks.
Wired. I'm out of here. I'm not going anywhere, Wired.
Is it feasible for a company like Monument Hobbies to own the freehold of their properties outright, own their facilities? How do you mean, like to buy and own the buildings and everything? Is that what you mean? Freehold is not a term I'm used to. It's definitely, we own the building that we're broadcasting to you from. We're trying to sell it and not own property right now, because we're growing at a rate where our property is never the right size. And so rather than continuing to buy properties and then having to sell them, no rent. Freehold might be a UK thing. Freehold, yeah, so you own it flat out with no rent. Yeah. Yeah, we do. We own this one. Own the land your building is on, no rent. Yeah, you can, for sure. A lot of companies do. A lot of companies, it's funny because if you watch the movie they made about the story of McDonald's, right? The big thing with McDonald's is the guy said, you're not a burger company, you're a real estate company. You're supposed to go, they started buying land and then renting the land to the people that bought into the franchise so that they were making the rent, and the franchisees had to buy all of the material to make McDonald's what it was. So they're paying for the franchise and for the land. So that's what they become, and that's how they took over the world, is owning the real estate more so than shipping the burgers and the materials to the stores. So there is a world where companies owning the land can be their whole business technically. I'm of the mind that in a period of growth, like we've been in growth since day one, and for us, it's very hard to navigate what does the future look like. Like in 5 years, how big of a building do we need to be Monument Hobbies? And so what we're trying to do is limit the exposure to needing to stretch that square footage amount hugely, because here in Central Phoenix, we're close to downtown in Phoenix, and there's not a lot of manufacturing type facilities around here. And where you have to go to get those is so far in any of the cardinal directions that we would lose probably 30 to 40% of our employee base no matter where we moved. And we don't want to do that. So we're working from the opposite direction on saying, how can we better? We have two buildings, right? One we rent. They're moving into it now. We have a new building. We have been renting a secondary space for production for over a year. And then this year we got a bigger production space, and fulfillment is leaving from this building to go over there too. So it is bigger than this building that we're in as HQ, which has always been our biggest building. The building that we're renting now and moving into this week and next week is bigger even again. And that'll be where all of the operational stuff happens. And then we're looking to sell this building and move all of our admin, marketing, and the stream and everything into more of like a high-rise office building type scenario, something that we don't have to maintain. Because what'll kill you is the maintenance. Right here in Arizona, we have 5 or 6 AC units on this building, and there's 6 on the other AC on the other building, and they're all like 10-ton, 5 and 10-ton units. So it's just tough to have to take care of all that crap. Do you sell in the U.S. through distributors or just directly to game stores? We try to just sell directly to game stores. We do have 2 distributors in the U.S. still. But our goal is to always deal as close to the end user as possible because of how our brand is. We believe in the hobby, and we believe that no too many middlemen can't talk about the brand. It just becomes a paint they're trying to sell, and that doesn't feel right to us. Is what Tesco do here. Yeah, Tesco's big. Yep. Exactly. They're real estate property pretending to be a supermarket. Exactly the same thing. Yeah. Your LGS said they'd check to see if they can get ProAcryl in because they can't restock brand X, and a couple of us have been asking for Pro. That's awesome. Yeah, just have them contact us at support@monumenthobbies.com, and the sales team is tied to that, and they'll get to them immediately.
Yes.
Our new retail rack is about to hit, and so in the next month, we'll be going gangbusters again with all of the new retail stuff. So.
Hoosier, 22 months. Thank you so much.
There's no empty Kmart building. You'd be surprised at how much those anchor store type lots cost. They're insane.
They're expensive.
They're insane. And if you want to lease them, the leases are huge still, too, because a lot of these people that own, like, you go back to the paint can. A lot of these people that own the strip malls and such still can't let go of the profitability of them. I say let go. That's the wrong way to say that. They can't see past the pricing, right? They still want to charge as if Best Buy wants to move in, but they have these destitute strip malls, and the anchor stores are the big ones. And we don't really want a retail-facing facility.
Right.
We don't want we love for people from the public to be able to come to the shop, but we don't need walk-in traffic saying, what do you guys do? We don't have the people on staff to deal with that. So, and it has happened in the past, even with our simple facility here in Phoenix.
Damaging says, anyone have a corn demon skin recipe they like with ProAcryl? What's your favorite demon skin workup?
Again, you're going to... Wow, am I a broken record? But I really like dark purple.
With red?
Dark purple into, like, burnt red.
Ooh.
And then red oxide, maybe.
Oh.
Or even burnt red into pyro red, if you want this kind of red that you're seeing on my Blood Angels. That kind of brighter fire engine red look. Really just is up to you. But purple makes all the difference. Purple or dark blue. Dark blue works really well, too. Payne's Gray is a good one, but it doesn't have the same impact as purple or dark blue when doing like demon flesh. I prefer to have something that has a bit more shock of color to it, like the dark blue.
Jason, how was your weekend? Asked Ozzy.
Thank you for asking. It was great.
You played some Horus Heresy?
I played some 30K.
How'd that
with
go?
my buddy Blake. It was good.
Nice.
I played my Solar Auxilia. He played my Iron Warriors. It was his first game.
Nice.
I'm still learning the rules, so we had a good time back and forth and discussing the rules and how we would build the list and what we think we would do. And he,
cool.
I think we convinced him to get into it, and he's going to get some AdMech. I believe he took my AdMech books home, or Mechanicum book home, so that he could read up more about it and see what he wanted to do model-wise and all that. But yeah, I think he's bought in. It's a really good game. It has some twists in it that I'm not a huge fan of, but overall I like it.
Cass Angel says, are you already planning new Adepticon releases?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Skeledon says, does the team ever do painting classes at the store?
No, not currently. We have talked about if we don't sell the building that we're in right now, this HQ building that we're broadcasting from, then we're talking about doing an experience center here. We mentioned it on stream before. It really just comes down to the investment it takes us to build out the building that way and the time. Our biggest problem is time to do classes.
It's a lot of commitment.
Yeah, and most of that commitment has to come from me.
Yeah.
And that one's tough right now. Not because I don't want to, but because there's just no time.
And because we also, do a painting class every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time. That's right. It would be cool to do one in person, but it's so funny because Jason did one at Adepticon, and it was so funny because I would say 95% of the people were from stream, which is cool. It's just, I think it was just like a fun way to hang out and do the same thing that we do every day, but just in person. There's that definitely feel. But
one of the things we've talked about with the Experience Center is it would allow us to do almost a live stream that would include people live in person as well, streamed in front of a studio audience kind of a thing.
Yep.
Where local people could come in and ask questions and be part of the tutorial and maybe do paint-alongs and things like that. So it would open up the world of being able to do some really fun stuff.
You'd have to deal with me live, so
I don't know about all that.
I don't know if the world can handle.
That's the only thing that keeps us from doing it, actually.
It's probably true. Jason's like, man, this would be such a cool do a live show, but then we have to get Chris on the stage. And you know how I do. Give me a crowd and let me go to town. That's it. I do it for you people, the people, we the people, you.
I would teach Chris non-metallic metal in front of a live audience.
I would do it. Be great. Everybody would literally learn one thing.
We'd strap him to a chair.
Help!
And he would only be able to use the brush in his mouth.
What?
Because he's duct taped to the chair.
Doghouse says, dealing with Chris live is easy. Doghouse, I appreciate it. Awkwardish says, Chris, you're a delight. Hey, Awkwardish, you're the best.
Wow, Awkwardish. What are you trying to get from Chris?
How about this? 1 sushi point.
I don't think that was worth it.
You see that?
I don't think that was worth it.
I haven't given out. Awkwardish, treasure that one. I think I misclicked that button, but why not? Philip, you're fired. Christopher is the bestest. I know that's what you said, but you're lying to me. Teaching Clockwork Orange non-metallic metal, says Game Delay. No.
Yeah, where we like prop his eyes open with like little toothpicks. I'm down. I don't know that we can convince Chris is a good time. For him, that's just a Thursday night, so we got to be careful.
I'll do it. Wait, the Clockwork Orange, where they strap me up? I'm healing everybody, right?
Yes. We're getting rid of. I'm healing. It's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Damage Inc. says every time he says something dumb, he loses a bottle of noosh. Hey, whoa.
Between this man and his noosh, and you got problems.
I don't say dumb things. I say silly things. Huge difference. Massive difference. Oh, John Sneed says, I got my biggest painting commission, and I'm very excited.
Awesome.
John,
congrats.
What are you painting up? That's cool.
Congrats.
Sir Blame says, wanted to know, is there any plans to do more of your monument tutorials for basics such as wood and using old sets? Old sets is the thing that's throwing me. Sir Blame, we are definitely doing a bunch of tutorials.
Yeah. And we use all the colors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, believe it or not, the way we choose the colors is kind of just looking at what color family we've done more recently versus not. And we say, oh, we haven't done anything really focused on green in a while. And so we'll pick a green, and we just let the artist, in this case, Ryan's doing a lot of them.
Yeah.
Or if I were doing it or Jordan were doing it, it would just be like, what do you want to paint? And then we'd come up with a color scheme and go. It's because all of our colors sell really well, so we don't ever really say, you know what I need you to do is paint something with this. We really just look and say, what would be a cool workup for the color in question? And it usually is just by a hue family. So I want to do something in blue. What could we do? And we talk about, okay, well, we haven't done blue skin. Blue skin would be really neat because it would show some of this, that, and the other. And then we do it. And really the only things that we try to do is keep it to a maximum of colors and process. We try to make it to where we can keep it somewhat simple. But
John says I'm airbrushing hot pink on over 100 Space Marines. Wow.
I saw your post. Oh,
that's
the Discord.
cool.
I think it was in the Discord. Doing it for a friend.
Ross Gregory says, which color is easiest to learn non-metallic metal? Ooh, that's a good question. Silver?
Generally silver. Silver you can do with 2 colors. Gold you can't really do with 2 colors. So gold is going to need to have you be understanding the nuance between your shadow and your highlight more. Whereas with silver, you can start with something like Payne's Gray and White Blue and just mix them together to get through the range, and you still get a really good silver out of it. It's what you see me do a lot of the time, right? There's some other colors on stuff like this, but for the most part, it's like, a dark blue like Payne's Gray or blue black and white blue, and you're just mixing them. And you can get a really good feel for steel. Now, there's some yellowish, earthy tone, one of the orange browns or something glazed in on the armor here that gives a horizon line reflection on it. But you can see how the most part, it's really just those 2 colors. And it will give you steel, because steel is really just gray with whatever environmental nuances you want to put in it based on its reflectivity, how bright it gets and shiny. And so that's the easiest one, whereas gold, I can't just take a dark brown and a bright yellow and mix them together and get the same feel. You can make it look cool, don't get me wrong. But gold, I feel like, wants more of that orangey flavor to it, a little bit of brown in the shadows, maybe green I use a lot, like on my Blood Angels. All of these are based out of a background of green, the dark yellow green, or yellow green to be exact. And so, as you're doing that, you have a little bit of color play you have to worry about too, which might, as you're learning, might confuse the issue, when really what you're trying to do is get used to the value part, right? So that you can say, hey, I just want the stuff to look like shiny metal once it gets on the model.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Right? And so this is done in 2 colors, and this is done in 4. Is it 4? I think 4. Yeah, 4. So 2 colors, 4 colors. And you can see you can generate the same amount of contrast on both and get the feel of metal just as easy. So I think steel is my one that I prefer to teach people to have them learn. I think you get it more easy aha moments.
Aha, muhu, mihi.
That's not a thing.
There it is.
That's not a thing.
That's perfect.
That's not a thing.
A Pro Taster says, that owl is an amazing blood angel.
Yes.
Thank you, Grant. Grant's okay,
I mean, not really.
For all of you who don't know who Grant is,
Grant?
Pro Paint Taster here.
Grant?
Did
you just out loud to real humans say that Grant is okay?
He's all right.
Wow.
I would say he's just okay.
Mark this down your calendars, folks.
Oh, you guys are going to be hearing a lot from Grant. Wired says, bright ivory doesn't make a good coffee creamer, sadly. I would concur.
Not with that attitude.
That would... No, you shouldn't be doing that at all.
Not with that attitude.
Do not put paint in your coffee. Capiche? I haven't said the word capiche in a long time.
Like how many years?
I would say a good 5.
Since you were directing the Sopranos episode?
Hey, capiche! I have not in a long time, so. Beer Pot Miniature says, hello there, Monument Hobbies.
Hi.
Question for you. Doing chips in black armor, would dark silver be a good place to start? Recent tutorial used magnesium. Dark silver.
Yeah, you could, for sure.
For chips?
Yeah, just to give it a little bit of a metallic finish. I think it would look great.
Tadpole Jackson says, do you guys have a cream color?
What color?
What kind of cream are you looking? Yeah.
What color is cream to you?
How long is a piece of string?
Our ivories are all in that cream olive flesh. Very good cream color.
Great cream color. Great color in general. Really.
One of Chris's favorites to use.
It's great. It does me real well. Tadpole says, sorry, bad joke about putting it in the coffee. Oh, Tadpole Jackson.
Not with that attitude.
We're so
you
happy
quitter.
with you. Don't put it in your coffee.
You
That's
quitter.
for legal.
Not necessarily illegal, just in poor taste. Ba-dumts. I got to
Oh.
it before his sound maker.
Say it again.
Ba-dumts.
No, not that. Say the joke again. Not the sound effect.
Got him.
Oh, it's so far from being missed. I can't go back. Just preaching the... Oh, Jade says, hello. Welcome in, Jade. Just preaching the good word of ProCrill while at work to one of the owner's nephews. No big
Nice.
deal. Jade, you're doing the Lord's work. Hey, thank you so much, Jade. Jade, avid member of our community. And her name is great. And one of our best-selling paints of all time. And one of our best customers. And one of our best children.
Wait,
Thank you,
what?
Jade.
Children? I don't have any
The
children.
children love the books. Children are children. We the people. The children of the krill.
we don't... The children of the krill. Okay, that needs to be a poster. That's a
children of the
t-shirt. The
krill.
children of the krill.
I'm writing it down. Children of the krill.
We'll just totally steal the movie poster from Children of the Corn. Instead of a scythe in the field, it'll just be a
Children?
ProCrill bottle.
Children of the krill. CJ says, Chris and Jason.
Can you hand zoom us in a little bit, not
Yeah.
punch? There we go. And get me a little bit of focus.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
There you go.
CJ says, Chris and Jason, what kind of
Yes, sir.
coffee and creamer do you like?
Uh,
I like black coffee, 0 cream, 0 sugar. We don't have time for that.
I have time for that. Every morning, Jen makes me, or I make myself when Jen's feeling under the weather. But Jen takes good care of me that way. I get a shot of decaf, a single shot of decaf, and it goes in, wait for it, 16 ounces of chocolate milk. That's what my breakfast is.
That sounds delicious.
It's a 16-ounce glass. It's a 16-ounce mason jar of chocolate milk with a single shot of decaf and then ice. That's it. That's how I drink my coffee. My creamer is chocolate milk.
Your creamer
My
is
chocolate milk of choice, I'm very embarrassed to admit, is Nestle's Quick, because Nestle is the devil. But they make great powdered chocolate milk.
Have you tried Ovaltine?
You've asked me this question, and yes, but Ovaltine is not real chocolate
It's
milk.
just not the same.
It's not the same. It's malt.
Okay.
It's
I
a
get
malt.
you. It's a malt.
It's a malt. And the
Okay.
malt is good, but the malt feels like it should be just for like milkshakes or something. It doesn't. I don't know that I've ever tried it with coffee.
Tadpole Jackson, is Huey new? I noticed him on the offline image and the bundle on an ad on Facebook. Yes, he's new.
He is. He's been around here in the office for a long time. He has not made it to public consumption yet until just recently.
Yeah, he's just getting out there.
A couple of our shirt designs that you may have seen people wearing at the shows. And we'll start to make his appearance more and more as we do it. It's funny, the first things that had Huey in were that people saw. They're like, "What is that AI?" I'm like, "What the? No,
You're AI.
you're AI."
That's what we say. Is that something
No.
AI would say with a winky face?
Hand drawn, amazing little character for us.
Ian says, "Can we get a progress army shot?" Oh, maybe when Jason gets to a certain point today, we'll do that.
Yeah, 100%.
John says, "Jason, how many points of Blood Angels are you up to?"
Built or painted?
Yes. Built. Built, you have like what?
Built, I have 3,000.
Okay, you do have 3,000
Yeah.
built.
Oh no, that's a lie.
Almost.
I could have 3,000 if I put the stuff that I'm not using anymore back in. I would have over 3,000. But because I changed it to the AdMech stuff, I haven't built all of the Thalaxes. I still have to build 9 more Thalax Mechanicum robots because I only have 3 built and I have 12 in the army. I switched to where I got rid of all my vehicles and bigger stuff that I was using for weaponry, and I'm to where I'm just using the Mechanicum Thalaxes for the Strength 8 weapons. So this army's garbage. I have nothing over Strength 8.
You can see Huey on our over socials. We do posts with him all the time. BattleCan. You can go over there to our Instagram and Facebook right now and see a picture of him. NKH says, when do we get to see the French army?
The bolt action is strong with this one. When the Blood Angels are done? That was a heavy sigh. Chris is ready for Blood Angels to be done.
No, I'm not ready for the Blood Angels to be done. Let me rephrase that. NKH, you might wait for a little bit on the French army.
I would love nothing more than to have the French army to paint. And I have the French version of Weird War, the Conflict 47 that's making a comeback. I have French that's done with some really cool Russian dust models. So I took some of the Palaparente's dust models, and the Russian ones had some really neat designs, but I felt like they felt more French. They were a little bit more rounded than I'm used to seeing, the big blocky Russian tank feel. So I have some really cool stuff that I can do the French for Weird War.
Jason, can I ask what the black and white armor workup was on this guy? It looks great.
Oh, thank you. The black is literally coal black or black primer, right? It's our black primer. And then I went over the top of it with dark neutral gray, and now bright neutral gray. That's it. It couldn't be any easier. It's my standard lazy man's black. I'm doing the bright neutral gray for the first time now. Everything else was done with airbrush and then some brush painting of the edges for the neutral gray, making it do double duty there.
Speaking of double duty,
the white was tough.
Flapjack, thank you for that 15 months. And Volt, thank you for those 19 months as well.
Thank you.
You guys are the best. Stan says, woo, 15 streams, big number. I bet no one else is that high.
Nobody.
Hugely sarcastic. There's a couple out there that are high up there. And speaking of high up there,
welcome everybody.
We are on cloud 9, and for the late person, that means no clouds because it's a cloudy day here in Arizona. A very rare type of day, but we are getting into the cool season here. Very exciting. Painting up some Blood Angels. If you have questions, be sure to tag at Monument Hobbies so that Chris sees them.
Who's Chris?
Sometimes I miss them because my name is not Chris sometimes, I guess. So that would be the only reason why.
Your name is Chris Masushi, not Chris sometimes.
Chris sometimes. I'm changing it legally to Chris sometimes. No, it's actually Christopher Actually is what they used to call me. Back
Christopher
in the day.
Actually?
Christopher Actually. That's what they used to call me.
Who's they?
When I was on set, normally. That's what I was, where I would tell somebody something to do, and I would go, actually, wait, do it this way instead.
Is this your adult film career time on set?
No.
Okay.
I never did adult films. And by adults, I did film adults.
Which is why they call him Chris Actually. Actually.
Because I'll be like, hey, can you go over there and change that? And then I'm like, nah, actually do it this way instead. So they would always wait for my second response. Can you go change that camera angle? Nah, actually, don't worry about it. Flapjack, you're fired. Yeah. I never worked for him. It's never a thing.
Is he bringing up your Tiger Woods thing?
Yes.
This man is very humble.
I didn't do that.
Very humble.
The Doghouse, I did film adults, not adult films. You could call anything adult films if there were adults in it, but the thing that Jason is suggesting is something that I didn't do.
This has changed my whole life. Are we shooting an adult film right now?
I mean, if you're an adult, I'm an adult.
Change the title. Change the title of the stream.
We're
this
shooting
is it.
an
This is
adult
it.
film.
Jackpot.
After
You know, in Arizona,
hours.
they just passed a bill where you can no longer go to the adult sites, right? They're doing this all over the country.
Oh.
You can't get to them because they can't positively ID you.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah.
Is this a film, Flapjack?
So this is now your adult film outlet in Arizona. We're going to be rich! Right? Just put it in the title.
Adult films you can watch. We are adults. I need an adult, says Xenobond. We all need an adult. This is film.
What if we just change the title to Painting Naked?
No, I'm not doing it. I can't right mind it. That's
but
a lot.
Then we don't do anything naked. We just say the title is Painting Naked.
That would be called clickbait.
Naked painting. And we say, no, we're naked because it's all out in the open. We don't hide anything. This is naked painting. You see my thing?
Yes. I would like to say this, Frankie C. I'm going to say this right now. We will do a hot tub stream at some point.
I'm down.
My parents have one now.
Uh-oh. This got real quick.
And
I thought I was free.
We can do that. We can do a painting hot tub stream. Yes, it would take a lot of additional work, and Jason would get fried at the end of it. Because if he's painting, he can only be in there for like 30 minutes until he prunes up. We'll do one. I'll do it.
I have to be almost can't do hot tubs.
I'll do it
because I got chlorine burn in a hot tub.
I remember. I'll do it for the people.
Yes,
how about that?
It can't have chlorine in it.
Like Christopher Cook. Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys. Maybe when Jason's gone at some point.
What? When am I gone long enough that you can put together a hot tub stream?
No, I mean like gone. Like when Jason is gone.
Oh, I'm just gone.
When Jason is gone.
Oh. Sad.
No, we could
Very sad for me.
We could do a hot tub stream, Jason. We could do that. It would require a lot of setup, but not impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
That's 100% accurate.
I saw Pippi Longstockings.
M3 Stout says, Chris, you're going dark here. Be nice to the elders. I'm so nice to elders. What brushes do you use?
Mine.
Flapjack, did you say something else in regards to that? Hear him out, Christopher. I know. That's what I'm saying. We could do it. We could do a hot tub stream. And then we could be...
Why is this... Why?
Well, here's the thing. I'm in the mindset of this, right?
Here we go.
And I don't know. I don't know if you... I don't want to say Jason doesn't appreciate this, because he does.
Oh, I don't.
But I love saying that we possibly could have been the first hobby company to live produce a hot tub painting stream.
You won't even let me call it naked painting.
No, I know. I just want that clout, right? Like, yo, you remember when we painted in a hot tub? No one else can do that. We already do a lot of things here that nobody other hobby companies can do, aka what we're doing every day. But imagine if we did one in a hot tub. There's no way, right? There's no way. We'll make it happen. Let it be known. Anyway, that's my TED Talk. By the way, I need to send out an evite to everybody in chat for my actual TED Talk.
Basic business.
Basic business. Anyway, we'll do a hot tub stream. Mark my words.
Don't mark his words.
No date.
Please don't mark his words.
Jason, we can do it.
I just don't want to even hear about this. This is going to get nothing but worse.
Oh my gosh, it'd be hilarious if we painted in a hot tub, though.
I said we need to get the green screen out and do it with the green screen.
Jason, what if it was a real hot tub, though?
But we don't have one of those
I
here,
have
and that
one of
scares
those.
me.
We can go somewhere and do it.
I'm not trying to do remote streams in your parents' hot tub. That's weird.
No, it's not. It's only weird if you say it's weird.
It's only weird when you say it out loud,
Oh,
Christopher.
no! We'll figure it out. They'd do it. I'm like, all right, Dad. Hear me out.
No.
I need to do
Now
this.
it just got even weirder. You said they'd do it. What are your parents in the hot tub while we're
No,
painting?
I would
This
just
is
need to
even
get.
weirder.
I would just tell them what's happening.
Hi, welcome to the Masucci family hot tub.
No. Come on now.
We've
You have
invited
to
Jason in to do some painting of his little men.
You have to pitch it in a different way. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you world history in the making. Monument Hobbies live from a hot tub. See? When you pitch it that way, it's a lot different.
Oh, yeah, that definitely made it for me. It definitely sold me on it.
Oh, no. Oh, it's not the same. It's only weird because it'd be a stream painting in Christopher's parents' hot tub. No other reason, though. Oh, all right. I see what everybody... We won't do it. Not yet. In 2054, when we launch Bag of Krill, we'll do it from a hot tub. There you go. Mark my words.
That's easier for me to okay, because I won't be here. As you put it earlier,
Jason, no.
when I'm gone...
No. Jason, we are cutting your head off and putting you into a dreadnought.
That's right, I'm in a dreadnought by this time, aren't I?
By then, if the world hasn't come up with dreadnoughts, we're screwed. Right?
I have a hard time with this one, because as much as I would like to be interred in a dreadnought...
Come on now.
It worries me
Okay.
that that's what we've spent our effort on.
We got it. We'll do it. I'm so sorry. We're back. This is a business painting stream. We're painting up Blood Angels today. It's 3:01 p.m.
What?
Isn't that crazy? No, we will chronologically or whatever. What is it called? The cryo freeze Jason?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely.
We'll cryo freeze Jason.
Definitely.
We'll keep him alive. We'll revive him. Ross says, I'm new to the hobby. I
Welcome.
currently have black wash, dark neutral gray, titanium white, and glaze and wash. Which colors could you recommend for black Templars? Great question.
I think that a black base with dark neutral gray up into bright neutral gray, dark neutral gray, bright neutral gray, and then a black wash back over them works fantastic. So it sounds like you're already well on the way to having the right kind of setup. That can look really well. It's what I've done here, just without the black wash. I kept with the airbrush the grays to where they don't overtake the model. Yeah. And because it's then next to white and the gold non-metallic and all the reds, the black appears darker than it would on its own. Like when you look at the models, right, without the gold and the white, it looks more gray, doesn't it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Rather than black. But this is exactly the same. They're exactly the same, just with the highlight. When I put them next to each other, you can see they're exactly the same. But it takes all the rest of the bright colors on the model to knock the gray down. So a lot of times I will do exactly that. I'll paint up all the gray, like on this guy that we started with, and we got the highlights done and everything. And so you've got some good progress on the metal. It looks good. And then you go ahead and paint all the rest of the bright stuff and see if it turns the gray into dark enough. Because, again, look at the guy on the left versus the guy on the right. And the guy on the left looks like black armor. The guy on the left looks a little more gray. But the brighter you go, the darker your other colors look, and that's what's happening on the left. Is it the white shoulder plates, the bright gold, and then the bright gray highlight, that bright neutral gray highlight on the left makes that darker gray look black. So you can fool the eye, right? So you're not really having to paint with a lot of black. If I put a black wash on this, it would be too dark. But if I were painting them much darker, imagine if I were doing flesh terrors and it was just a dark red and black, then I might want to put a black wash on it so that it didn't look as gray.
Yeah.
A lot of that is just how the colors relate to one another when you're done. And that's value. We talk about value, and value is the brightness of a color. And so as you start getting brighter and darker colors next to one another on the model changes how it looks. Even though you haven't changed the colors, it starts to change. Lots of bright colors make all of your mid-tone and darker colors appear even darker, right? Especially white. If you paint white on a model, then everything else becomes darker. And so that's why I say never try to finish any one area of the model until you're working up to finish the whole model simultaneously. because you can get something done and think, oh, it's perfect, and then you paint white next to it, and you're like, that looks like garbage. It just because you can't see any of the contrast anymore. Where on its own, without the white next to it, look fine. Put white next to it, blows it out. That's why we don't paint with a lot of white, pure white, even when doing white armor. Like, there's not much pure white on this guy's shoulder pads, believe it or not. If I were to take the old titanium white and put it up next to this, look at how much brighter the white paint is than anything on the model. The white areas almost look like bright neutral gray. They're very gray because I just painted the white on very thin with the airbrush, right? So that it doesn't look white. Even the white helmet we've done over here, again, the white in the bottle is brighter than the white on the helmet. We try to keep it a little more gray. Still looks like white on the model because nothing else is even close in brightness, and so your brain goes, that's white, even if you didn't use any white. That's the whole trick when painting this, right?
Yeah.
The brightest color on the model is bright neutral gray and transparent white, really, and the transparent white doesn't really turn the model white, but it looks like you painted it white because it's the brightest thing, and the brain just responds to that. If it's in that neutral white hue, it doesn't even have to be white, and it looks like it, which allows you to then highlight, because we've used like the titanium white for the edge highlighting on the armor. You can't edge highlight white. There's nothing brighter. So same thing with all of this. Painting black, just judge it based on what the brighter colors on the model are. You're painting black Templars, the things that you're going to have that are going to be brighter, like the white shoulder plates, right? If you're painting them that way, because the black Templar generally have white with the black iron cross on it, or the whatever it's called, the Templar cross. And then your various parchments hanging off of them generally are going to be some sort of creamy parchment color. That's going to be brighter than black. So you can stand to have your armor actually be just a dark gray, and then when you paint the white shoulder plates and the parchments, it's going to look black anyway. So that's my thing. You could almost get away without ever using a wash. Ta-da!
There you go. The white marble on the piece is just did a 3-to-1 bright warm gray and BT white, and it looks great. Like, nice.
Yeah.
Awkwardish.
Yep. You can get a lot more out of what appears to be white without ever really using white. And that way you save yourself that bright highlight that you could use on everything from non-metallic metal to the white areas themselves, all that. Matte gray primers in stock now. You ordered some and got a refund saying there was none to sell? Artistic Outlaw? That's not true. All that just came in at the end of last week. Check the site again and see. And shoot an email to support and find out why that happened, because I'm not aware of that. That did not happen with my knowledge. It's here. So that's disturbing. Somebody will probably come in and say, oh, but, and I don't know what that oh, but is. Maybe it's because it's in the process of being moved from building to building. We are moving our facility to a new building, and they may just not have gotten it unpacked, and somebody may have sent you a refund because if they didn't unpack it and count it and put it into stock, it might not have made it. But I know all the Color Forge stuff made it in, so I would believe it's in stock.
What's up, our Mike Disney?
Mike, what's going on, buddy? Doing great. Mike. How about yourself?
Can you try to use your paints in the same way Stan at CS?
Artistic, I would send an email to support and ask them. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody here we can ask right now. Already, where do you ship the products? What do you mean, where do we ship? We ship all over the world. We have an office in France for shipping to Europe. We have a Monument office with employees over in France for Monument EU. And we have a monumenthobbies.eu website where you can shop in the European area. We have Element Games and Occam Distribution, Wayland Games that distribute for us in the UK. And then we cover North America straight from our warehouse here.
Can you try your paints in the SME stand? Yes.
Yep. All of them. Expert acrylics and everything. All the expert acrylics are over in the EU office right now. I think they're unpacking them. We're getting them on the site, so all of them will be available here pretty soon. There we go.
Yes, and here I'll put the store link here, and I will also do the EU link.
What was my bronze workup?
Uh-oh.
Dark golden brown.
Here it is.
Dark orange brown.
Dark golden brown. Dark orange brown,
Ta-da.
Orange brown, khaki, bright ivory, wash, petroleum brown wash, and then bright ivory.
I can do that.
The local shop here in town only carries Pro Acryl. I'm slowly changing over and love it. Nice.
That's awesome. That's incredible. A store that only carries Pro Acryl? I love it. We have a few of those that were not big hobby stores, but then had a lot of people come in and start hobbying, whether during COVID or after, and started bringing our paint, and that's always awesome to hear. Hopefully you love it as much as we do. We put our money where our mouth is every day here live to show you the amazing ways you can use our paint to paint just about anything, although we've been painting nothing but blood angels here for a long time. But showing you a lot of different techniques for painting blood angels and anything in general.
Ozzy says, you plan on making speed paint tutorials using your paints. Some tricks would be useful.
So, I mean, most of our stuff that we do in our methodologies are very quick ways to paint. For me, you're going to get the kickback that I believe the world has gotten a little crazy with the term speed paint. How fast you can paint is up to you, not the product, right? Because you can have something that puts paint on a model really quick, but it isn't going to make it look good for you. Right? I don't believe that the speed paints are the answer. They're great for getting a great head start, but then you got to figure out, okay, what am I going to do on top of that? We've shown how you can use our glaze wash medium to turn all of our paints into more traditional, what you'll call speed paint. And then methods for painting quick, we do all the time. It just depends on if we teach you about layering, and then show you quick ways to layer, right? But we can definitely get some new stuff that's like finish a model real quick. Jordan's done a bunch of that. We just did a deal the other day showing you Iron Warriors, a full squad of Iron Warriors in 2 hours. So yeah, we can focus on more of that. It's something I believe in strongly, that being able to get new people to find reward in their painting so they feel good about painting is fantastic. I'm just one of those old guys who believes that you get more reward when painting quick by also painting in a way that's teaching you a tool that you can use no matter how you want to paint, right? So being able to use a hammer quicker is much better than using some tool that sort of hammers but can't do anything in a realistic way. So we'll show you lots of techniques and then help you learn how to use those techniques quicker. I mean, hell, a lot of the things that I'm doing on these blood angels are very quick techniques for doing very complicated things. My non-metallic metal on all these guys is what I call wish.com non-metallic metal. It's all done very fast. Yeah. But it gives really good results, right? It's nothing that isn't learnable and then recreatable. I think that it asks you to know more, so I'm not trying to tell you that on day one you're doing non-metallic metal, but the concept is that everything that I paint is trying to show you very easy techniques to get it done, and then it's more of you find your speed through practice. And I know people that can do very, very complicated painting techniques faster than I can paint with like speed paints and washes. Yeah.
Valerie says, do you have sets of one color, like different shades of red?
No.
But you can go to our site and you can filter through all of those.
Correct.
I know what you're talking about, Val, but no, we don't.
We don't sell the paints in like the red. We do what we call your build your own paint set. Mm-hmm. I came to the conclusion years ago when we launched the paint that I never know what colors you want more than you do. And so we don't box colors in any way other than when we release new colors entirely. So our sets are all expansion sets to the main line. And there, when I decide we're making new colors, I come up with the colors, we make the colors, and then you get an expansion set that is all these new colors. They're not focused necessarily. The transparents and the metallics are, right? They're a type of paint that are all together. So that's one that sits as an outlier, but like all the other expansion sets are just, here's this collection of colors we know you'll love, and a set to buy them all individually or all at once at a discount. So that's what our sets are. The build your own set bundle lets you go into the site and you can go and filter by reds on both the EU and the US site. You can filter by reds and then pick all the reds you want. And when you get to 8 colors, you get the set price. All of our sets, other than the Signature Series sets, are a minimum of 8 paints. And so you can just add all those together.
Yep.
Get to 8 singles in your cart. That can include the expert acrylics as well. So you can mix and match the tube and the bottle paints, however you like. And then you're off and running. You get 10% off in the cart. Beautiful thing.
And here is a link.
Beautiful thing.
Takes you right to the singles. Routcan says, speaking of expansion sets, any idea when the new one is coming out?
Probably around Adepticon. I don't think we'll have it out by the end of the year. We've got some models coming out by the end of the year. We have the primers come out. We're working on a lot of stuff, but I just think timing is probably going to be bad for the end of the year. I think with the holidays, we try to have all of our stuff already approved and out and ready to go, so that, you know, by the time we were to release anything for, say, Black Friday or something, it would already be something you would have seen and we would have proven out very well on stream.
Old Gamer NL says, do you sell sets at SMC, and
Yes.
why should I buy Pro Acryl instead of Vallejo, Iconic, or AK?
We're better. That's what I'll tell you about buying the paint. We make fine art grade paint as opposed to hobby paints. Our paints just work straight out of the bottle. You'll find that here, you know, as we paint every day, you'll see them in action, and they kind of tell their story if you paint it in the hobby. This is a glass palette. I don't do any fiddling, no messing around, no adding colors. Just the water on my brush allows me to maintain a very consistent output with the paint. You know, no flow improvers, no additives, no mediums. You'll find me 99% of the time just painting with water on my brush. Our pigment load is second to none because we make paint, literally, I can say the old-fashioned way. We make fine art paint. We don't make hobby paint. So we don't start with your standard tint base and then add random pigments to it until we get a color via hex code. We actually take raw fine art paint pigments and blend them by hand to get the color we like.
Yeah.
Which seems silly, but that's the old world way to do it. Most things nowadays are done as like a house paint style, where you scan a color and it has a computer hex code, and then it goes into a machine, and the machine spits out random pigments that make that perfect color. It's great, but those paints don't mix very well. If you've ever mixed hobby paints and you've seen them kind of gray out on you, they kind of lose their vibrancy. They don't give you the color exactly the way you thought you should get it when you mixed. That's the reason. Our paints don't suffer from that. And yes, we'll have sets, and you can come try them at SMC. So if you're going to be at SMC, you can stop by the booth and play with them first and see if they mix for you, because I can say anything I want to. It's all just salesmanship until you touch the paints and you enjoy them. The one thing you'll always hear me say as an artist, because I'm an artist first, I'm a salesman second. And as an artist, the thing I will say is that the right paint for you is the one that gets you to the end of the project and happy. That's it. Paint with whatever keeps you happy and feeling like you're making progress. I don't think any one paint probably spells it all out for everybody, although we have a lot of people that just use our paints. I think you'll have paints that work great for you in different situations, and that's what it's all about. So never lose sight of that. But we believe we have something special. It's the fact that it's no fuss, no mess. It's meant like, you know, when you're going to paint a canvas, you shouldn't have to do a lot with your paint. You squeeze some paint out on your palette and you start painting. Fine art is not about painting palettes. It's about painting subjects. And our subjects happen to be these great plastic models or resins or metals or whatever, not palettes. And yet a lot of people spend a lot of their time painting their palette, messing around, thinning the paint, figuring out what to do with it, you know. And I talked to tons of people that are like, by the time I sat down to paint for an hour, 30 minutes of it was spent getting the paint the way I needed it to be. Yeah. And so the feedback we get a lot of the time is that Pro Acryl just works. And that's the best compliment we can be paid. Because when I set out, I originally said I'd never make paint unless I can find a way to make it something that I believe, after painting for over 45 years, makes a difference. And that's what we got. I would literally take this to the island and never need anything other than our paint. There you go. That's my salesmanship. But again, come by and try it. Have fun. Paint with us at SMC. I'll be there. I don't know when I'm taking to paint. I may just show up and paint whatever Mally brings. Or I may bring a model. I haven't figured that out. I haven't started packing yet. So,
what's the spear work up here? Wired was asking.
You know it. You just told me.
The spear work up?
Yeah, you just told me. I asked you what bronze
because you're
was.
doing it bronze. Okay. Sorry.
It's
Dark golden brown.
Yep.
Dark orange brown, khaki, bright ivory.
I'm on the orange brown part.
Petroleum brown wash.
So it's dark golden brown, dark orange brown, and orange brown. I'm on the orange brown. No mixing. This is just literally layer by layer that I'm doing it. The next one's khaki after orange brown. Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, khaki. Khaki.
Awkwardish says, better paint, better people, great prices, great customer service, and hands down the best core to any painter's toolkit. We appreciate that, Awkwardish. Thank you.
Sounds great. So they also work great for people who are not experienced painters. 100%. They're called Pro Acryl only because they make everybody paint like a pro. They blend better without you knowing how to blend. They will work with you from the first time you pick up paint to the 100th Slayer sword you've won.
Yeah.
We have people at every single skill level using them, and everybody raves at the same level for how easy it makes their painting. So you don't have to be an experienced painter to receive the benefit. That's my big thing, is that I don't feel like you have to be a pro before you can really tell how a paint feels. And, for so long we've been told just paint. So you can just put paint on the model fast so you can play more. And I'm like, that's great, but it should also feel good to paint, because paint's a heck of a process. It's fun. It shouldn't feel like work. So we make paint that just does the work for you.
Great questions, by the way.
Yeah, and welcome everybody.
Rattlecan says 100%. If you're not using ProCro, you're handicapping yourself. It definitely helps a lot. I mean, I was not very big into paints myself.
Well, yeah, you're very vocal about saying that you didn't get into the hobby to paint.
No, I was super into the models, super into the games, and I'm like, well, I want to be painting these like second, right? It was not a priority. Now it's the main thing that gets me jazzed of doing art projects, because I'm an artist. I've been painting for a long time, never models, but I actually really like how our paint works, and I wish I would have tried it sooner before I had to go through that. And now I'm here. So there you go. I don't know what other testament you need, but it definitely, what Jason says, it is not complicated to use. Like, we do that work for you, essentially. So if you're new to the hobby, I wish I would have started here.
Our hobby is weird. It's always forced us to have to work harder than you really want to for the outcome you're getting. And that's because it's always been a secondary industry.
Yeah.
Right? The hobby has never been something that was at the forefront. Nobody just started making hobby paint. They made other kinds of paint and then said, oh yeah, we can make paint that sells to people that paint airplanes. And so it wasn't built for painting models, right? It just happened to work, and people would buy it for that. And now you have companies like us that are really trying to make products that are made for painting models. They lay flat, they don't obscure detailing, they feel thin without being thin, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I always have a trouble describing it. I say they are lightweight. And by lightweight, that's what I mean, is that they have the ability to not have to be thinned. They just work right out of the bottle in most cases. And then you thin them if you want lower opacity. So if you want to do filters and glazes and washes and things like that, you'll start to thin them down more. But in reality, you don't have to do much of that at all. Just a long cylinder is it's so pleasing to paint. You don't have to do anything.
Art of Mike Disney says, I used a ton of different paints over the years, and by far Monument is the smoothest paint ever. The colors pop, and it's just such a great paint to use. We appreciate that, Mike.
Mike, thank you. You've been there since the beginning almost, man. Appreciate that.
Sir Blaine says, what is a color that you think is good for gunmetal? I was thinking blue, black, gray, blue, and titanium white.
Yeah, I don't think you need the titanium white. I think white blue is probably better for you there. Not that you couldn't do the titanium white. I think that if there's one thing I can get people to do is get out of the habit of thinking that titanium white is your brightest color. It is, but if you start tuning your thought process back to something like bright neutral gray, white, blue as being your brightest color, then you always have an escape hatch for when you need something brighter. If you go in and you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to use titanium white to get this color that I want to be bright, gunmetal for the shine on the gunmetal or whatever, and then you use it, now you have nowhere else you can go, okay? That creates a problem. So in my opinion, it's better to have something like white, blue, or bright neutral gray, those two, pale yellow for your warmer colors. Those two are the ones that I'm always like, those are the brightest colors in my arsenal. And then white is always sitting there staring at me condescendingly, saying, oh, you think? For when I need something brighter. When I get done with the model and I've used my brightest colors, right? And then I need to come back and say, well, what I really meant was that I needed to just use titanium white for that last little deet at the end of the sword. Or that last little doot on the shoulder plate, right? Something where I just needed a spark of brightness. If you've made sure that you've only ever used something pseudo-bright, we'll call it. I call them fake whites. So pick your favorite fake whites. It could be bright ivory. It could
Olive
be
flesh.
Olive flesh is a good fake white. It's even darker, right? But if those are your fake whites, then you get this amazing situation where no matter what you do, you've always got that escape hatch. You've always got that ability to go, yo, yeah, watch this, and then put a dot of white on there and just make it pop.
Duel, you guys should sell a paint water coffee mug. We do have a painting cup.
We have a painting cup.
But not for paint water drinking. And you can sometimes make that mistake, so be careful. Do not put your coffee cup next to your paint water cup. Mistakes can happen. Seth says, can I switch the flip tops for the normal tip on the Expert Artist acrylics, or are they too heavy for the normal top?
They aren't the same thread.
Yeah.
The tube and the bottle are not the same, so you can't use the same tops. They look kind of like our normal flip, but no, you can't change them out. They're built for that. Built that way.
Papa Chicken. It was Ninjon and Vincey V that got me into Pro Curl. Awesome. To give Pro Curl a try. Though y'all were inexpensive, so why not? I bought the whole line because Pro Curl was the creamiest, smoothest, and easiest to work with. No other paint has such an awesome feel. It is. Oh, it also helps that Chris and Jason tolerate my nonsense almost daily. Innovative brush feel. Nice.
Thank you. That's a great way to say that, right?
Yeah.
It is something that feels different.
Intuitive,
it has a smoothness
feel,
and an
ease
ease of application that most paints don't consider, right?
Yeah, thank you, Papa Chicken. And hey, we tolerate you because we care about you.
You're pretty cool.
You're pretty cool. You send us rubber chickens.
You do send us rubber chickens. That's what it sounds like when you pop a chicken, by the way. It only took months of that. I was surprised.
It took months. It's okay.
I was always wondering if we were offending you, Papa Chicken.
Hey.
Every time he would talk, we'd be like, hey, Chris.
Hey, Jason.
What does it sound like when you pop a chicken?
Then I had to scramble. Then you gave us a sense of purpose, Papa Chicken.
Oh my gosh, it's so great.
Don't eat the paint, Rogue Leader. False. Not a good mouthfeel.
Not a good palate cleanser either. Just stay away in general. Do not recommend. Do not recommend.
Now that's a cool bronze workup, Jason.
Yeah.
Now you could have used true metallic bronze for this.
Bright ivory or ivory?
Ivory. No, it's bright ivory.
Bright ivory.
Bright ivory. No, you do a wash. Oh, after the bright ivory, you do a
wash, and then I hit it with bright ivory again.
I need to have you finish that.
I didn't do the other one, yeah.
That axe for me.
I washed it, but I didn't ever do the bright ivory again.
I'm gonna need you.
I kept telling you, Chris, it's not done, man.
I need you to finish that axe, though.
Chris, it's not done yet.
We'll get it done.
But Chris,
that's me.
It's not done yet.
Could you do that for me?
I'd do anything for you.
Baby, come back. The only reason I like Pro Acryl is that I can buy it. There's other boutique brands that are supposedly great, but you can't buy them, says Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue, we'll take it. We appreciate you giving us a try.
I think one of the funny thing is that we started out being boutique by the very definition of, you can't. It's hard to find.
I was just about to say, we are, yeah.
We were hard to find. Obviously, you never start your brand with a ton of retailers. That's not how this industry works, right?
Yeah.
And then we very slowly became a household name. And, we didn't ever have an expectation or know what was going on. We were like, yeah, I don't know. We were trying to offer really good value because we make the paint. So we control a lot of the process on the raw material side of it. We're not beholden to a lot of pricing restrictions like other paint manufacturers are because they don't make their own paint. So, it kind of helped a lot, but we were still unknown. Who's this silly guy in the U.S.? We're not Spanish, right? All the paint companies come from Spain and a couple from England. And we're not European, we're not known. We didn't work for GW in the video department, we didn't do any of that. So it was kind of like, okay, well, who are you then? And we just say, well, we just make paint that we love to paint with. And we've been doing this stream for over 9 years. So, that we really just put our all into it and said, well, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll like our craziness. And so now it's less of a boutique thing, right? So, yeah, I like that you can get it. That's a big deal.
It is. And we don't take that for granted. We definitely are. We've got Jordan and Kenny over there calling stores and getting them stocked. So if you have a store near you, definitely have them contact support if you want to get your store filled with Pro Acryl. We'll get it going. Yeah,
our new EU team doing a great job. Well, SMC and Spiel are the first two shows where we have our own Monument booth selling at the shows, which is great. We have our great distributors like PK Pro over in Europe. Felix and the gang are great. They'll continue to represent. So,
speaking of representing,
welcome everybody.
The Punisher, 60 months.
60 months.
Whoa, that's lying McLyerston.
Yeah, that is lying McLyerston territory for sure. There's no way. For anybody who's new here, you will be called a liar, and you will be welcomed with open arms into the Lying Liars Club at some point, the longer you stay here, because there's no way you could possibly stay here for that long and really like us. We're not that likable. So.
Game Delay says, I like ProCrafter, and in John's video talked about the longer open time, but I never really imagined I would be a good painter. It was a monthly challenges that pushed my painting ahead.
That's awesome, Game Delay, because you're a fantastic painter.
Yeah, Game Delay, you crush it. Game Delay.
Rattlecan and Made in the USA.
If you aren't familiar with our monthly challenges, you can go into our Discord. We do a monthly challenge, and this month is October.
So... Double T says, I'll sell it out of my shed out back. The closest store's like 100 miles. Wow. That's not close.
That isn't close. 100 miles?
Yeah, and Maple Airbrush Supply gets it. We have a distributor in Canada, but we just now opened up Monument Hobbies Canada as a business. We are now working through the end of the year to get that machine rolling. Taking longer than we wanted, but we will have a Canadian website, hopefully by January.
Fresh, about to start Gazgul Thraka. The black, brown, and red oxide primers are perfect for all the dirty mech orcs.
Aren't they amazing? Yeah, the black, brown start with the red oxide primer over it is amazing.
Artistic Outlaw, October 31st, right before midnight. That is when it's due.
Petroleum brown.
Yeah, definitely hop in there. Yeah, why not? It's an orc technically, and I'm not gonna get too lore heavy on you. An Orokai is technically not an orc, but we'll let it slide. It's orky enough for me, kind of technically. I won't get crazy with that. Do it. I want you painting.
Jeez, he kind of put a lot of effort into telling you nothing there. That word salad makes me feel like maybe you should think twice.
My heart says no. My brain says paint. There you go.
But my body's saying yes.
Of course you can. Even though it's not an orc. But that's not the stream for this. So we won't talk about it because I don't want us to derail from painting.
So what are they? Just big goblins?
I don't want to talk about it. That's
God.
no, man. Oh my. Oh,
They're just
where's
big
my
goblins. The reality, what this means, Chad, is that he just doesn't know. He doesn't know. He acts like he might know, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Chris doesn't know. He doesn't know.
I'm not going to talk about that here. I made a commitment a long time ago that I would not derail these business paint streams with random facts from the Lord of the Rings universe. Tolkien's world. I won't do it. But yeah, you can go ahead and do that. It's fine.
He didn't make it seem fine.
It's fine.
I'd be
no,
very
it's
leery
fine.
about that.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
I'd be really leery about this.
Rogue Leader, I might have to ban you for that one.
What did he say?
I won't read it.
What did he say?
I won't do it out loud.
You have to.
Chris
It's your
doesn't
job.
know LOTR clearly.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't know it at all. Definitely the orcs.
Man. Oh, man. Yes, but they're not the orcs. Artistic Outlaw. I can't get into it. I'm not going to do it.
Can't get into it.
Yes, they are, but I'm not. It technically.
I can't. I just
No.
can't. I can't. I can't. I just won't. I can't. I might.
Oh, man.
That's a Christopherism right there.
Oh, and look at all this.
Yeah,
I
Lord of the
knew
Rings
it.
is the one with the lightsabers, right? Yes.
Oh.
It's where the wizards have lightsabers,
Grant, if I
And they're
had the
never
power
late.
to ban you, it would be at this moment.
and they're never late. They arrive exactly when they want to.
I'm not doing it. I'm not going to get into this. Yes, technically, that's why I said technically you can put them in there. They're orcs, technically, if we're going to get that deep, okay? A breed artistic outlaw, I know what you're saying, or a breed of orcs, though. Yes, but not the same thing.
But, well, actually...
Because Saruman wanted it to be his own creation. So he would be offended if you called them orcs.
Well,
But
actually...
I won't get into it. They do. That's true. That is very true. Hey, no, absolutely not. See how mad I got there?
You see how the paints are slowly encroaching on the palette up here?
This happens. It was first. I will say I'm happy it's not the desk, but it's okay.
Slowly but surely.
I blew the whistle. I'm not doing it. Grant says, you know Chris means business when he pushes his glasses up and then addresses the question. This is true. I am blowing the safety whistle. I'm gonna let you guys all stew
These are
on that
Chris's no-no squares. Hey,
I was
do not go there.
I will not
That
derail
is
this
my
stream.
no-no square.
I will not derail this stream. Is the whistle your safety word? Yes. We have to do that. I run a business tight paint stream. I have to keep this man, and by this man, I mean Christopher, on track.
Yes.
So I know when I need to pump the
Glad
brakes.
you held your ground there.
You heard me.
Told the truth. It's not
Every
me you
once in
gotta
a
do
while.
anything with here.
Every
I'm
once
over
in
here
a while.
working. I don't
Every
know.
once in a while, I got to get Jason on board.
I don't know what the heck's going on over there, but I'm working.
That's right.
I work.
But hey, great segue into talking about our Discord challenges. Every month we do a Discord challenge where I give you a silly prompt on things to paint. And by silly, I mean very, very business things. Last month we did OSL. This month we're doing October, so paint up an orc. So, check it out. It's a big month this month. You guys, I knew this month was going to get a lot of good stuff. So I'm very, very excited to do that. And that review will be on, I think it's November 3rd, whatever that following week is. But we might do something for
I'm not here that week.
No, you are here that week.
Nope, I'm gone.
What?
Look at
this
your
is
calendar.
news to me.
Look at your
what
calendar.
are you talking about?
Look at your calendar.
Oh, I'm about to look at that calendar, man.
I'm gone that first week of November. I'm in the UK.
What? Oh, you are, son of a... Well.
Well. That
If it
Jason,
isn't my nemesis...
That Jason is a slippery fish.
If it isn't my nemesis, the Duke.
The Duke.
Son of a gun. You're correct. That was a test and you passed.
I did. Thank you.
We'll do it. We've done it without Jason. Maybe Grant will do it with me. Pro Painter, I'll help you run that, Chris. We can do it. Grant, I'll take you up on that. You have to paint yourself like an orc, though.
Holy.
So, I think we could do it. Grant and I are going to do it.
Holy
I have made it so.
Guacamole. I don't know what to tell you, chat. If this is going to be good, bad, or ugly, but...
Flapjack says, Chris is always testing people. I've never seen anyone fail. That's correct. Because I'm always making sure, keeping everybody on his toes. If Chris is working, then I'm on overtime. JMB and the Panda tabletop gaming, that is not allowed to be that funny.
That's not allowed to be that funny.
If Chris is working, then I'm on overtime. You only get a couple of those. Swing and Swift says, can you speak to appropriate brush pressure when painting? I recently watched a Ninjon video where he talks briefly on how it's a fundamental that is not regularly spoken about on YouTube.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. The biggest thing when discussing brush control that you need to first understand is how regulating your brush pressure affects the weight of your line, the spread of the paint, and the texture that you get, right? Is the way that we discuss it. So how to figure out what your brush pressure is a little different because everybody has a different feel and a different look, right? There's as many ways to recognize it as there are people painting, so it becomes a little tough to regulate. But it's really about the lightness of your feel, and it's one of the hardest things to teach. I always go back to talking about how I would try to teach people working with metal. And if you've never worked with metal, trying to clamp down a piece of working steel into a vise and have you put a grinder to it or a file to it and shape it is very difficult because it's hard to understand what you're looking at if you've never seen how metal moves. It moves almost like a liquid when you get it under pressure. And so same thing with your brush, right? You have to watch the thickness of the line. What I'm doing right now is a good example. If you can zoom in real close.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to see because I'm doing a dark color over a dark color.
Right.
But it's all about like knowing that if I push very hard, my line is going to be very thick because pushing harder gives more paint out of the brush. Okay? Just because of the way brushes work. And lighter pressure means less paint off the brush. And in most cases, no paint off the brush, right? Because with paint, it has a higher viscosity than, say, water or most inks, unless you thin it way down. And sometimes, depending on the brush, this is where different brush types come into play. Cheap synthetics from Walmart or something might require you to press a lot harder to get them to make the paint come off the brush nicely.
Yeah.
And by pressing harder, you may get inconsistent line weight. So now you've opened up the whole world of why quality brushes exist and why you can choose to use cheaper, lower quality brushes for certain things like base coating. Because when you're base coating, what are you trying to do? You're trying to cover the whole model with color. So if your whole goal is to cover the whole model with a color like purple or whatever, you don't even care, like you're priming or base coating like I do, you might just slap a color over the entire model as your shadow color. And as you do so, you don't care where it goes. You don't care what your line weight is. You're not worried about it. You're just trying to cover the model. So a cheaper brush can do that because you can press harder with it and go to town. Texture doesn't matter, all that. It's when you start getting into your levels of layering and definitely your highlighting that now brush pressure and control become everything. Because if I'm going to go through and do this fine detail lining on that backpack, okay?
Yeah.
to where I've got to do a really thin line. I mean, that's my pinky, right? So you're talking about very small, thin lines that can't get sloppy and wide, or they disturb the shape of the object, right? Or they just look like paint instead of shine on an edge, because there's a time where it gets so thick that it looks chunky and it just starts looking like, oh, I just mispainted that. And so this takes a much lighter brush pressure to get that paint on this edge, right? Than if I'm just painting the red with a big stripe. Right, now I did all the red with an airbrush, so a little bit different, but you get the drift. It's going to be varying that line pressure that lets me go, like when I'm doing a stripe on my hand. I've got some good bright colors here and some dark colors here. So if I just take the blue-black and I say, okay, I just have a paintbrush full of paint. See that glob? I'm not even going to take it off. So I got a lot of paint there. So if I were to just, put a heavy brush stroke down, I just get a big line, okay? Well, let's say I was doing a highlight on like this here, where I want that kind of comet tail looking highlight on the cylinder of the backpack, right? Well, how do I do that? Well, I start with a thin line, which means very little brush pressure, right? So I want it thin, and then as I get to where I want the comet end to be, I press harder, and boom. Now I get a shaped line, right? And so it goes from lightweight here, if I could touch my hand, lightweight here to heavyweight here.
Yeah.
And now you get to do that, and that can be very beneficial when you're highlighting things, when you're putting texture on things. If you're painting fur, it's good to start with a very thin line out where the tip of the hair is, and then as you get to the base, you thicken it up. And then as you paint more, right, you get a better texture because it has a thick and thin spot to it that gives it more dimension, as opposed to just same weight lines all going in like that, right? That doesn't look the same. Same shape, right? Maybe not the same amount of lines if I nest them in more, right? But if I just do the same brush pressure and do a lot of lines, that's hatching. That's very useful for things like texturing and shading, but look how different it looks than where I use a thin to a thick line. This has more dimension, has a more artistic value to it. This is just hair, right? Doesn't have a dimension, doesn't have the shading, doesn't have the thickness and the feel to it that this does. There's a place for both. You have to know when to use them and how to use them. So being able to maintain that line width is good. So light brush pressure is a great thing to learn as an artist, because here again, I'll load the paintbrush up. So that's a lot of paint. You would think, okay, that's got to give a lot of paint out. No, if I can use the paint light enough that I can still get the hair on my hand doesn't help this. Right? But I can still get a very consistent thin line weight.
Yeah.
Even with a lot of paint on there, because it's all control. And you'll notice I put my finger on the painting surface that I've got so that I can just kind of lead my brush in, and then I just pull that back. And I can get a pretty consistent small line for scratches, dings, you cut again across it, and then put a dip in the middle where they cross, and now you can create scratches and all sorts of dimensioning and things like that. But again, it's all based off, I got a bunch of paint on my finger now. It's all based on you being able to vary that line weight. And then, of course, when you're base coating, you're just covering, right? And you don't care about line weight. So that's why I might have a synthetic brush for basing, sable like I'm using now for my detail, because it holds a tip and it doesn't require as much pressure to get the paint flowing. You'll start to learn how different brushes respond to the pressure. A stiffer brush, a la synthetics, or some natural fiber brushes like horsehair and things like that get to where they're stiffer hair follicles, they require more pressure to bend the bristle so that it gets the paint flowing. Think of like a pen nib. You have to press down to get the pen nib to bend a little bit, to flare, to let the ink out. Same thing with a brush. You got to bend it a little bit and put a little bit of pressure so that the bristles at the tip spread just enough to get the paint to flow out through them. And then the stiffer it is, the harder you have to press to get it to bend and do that. Whereas a sable brush, the reason we like them for our hobby is because they're a softer bristle, they have less snap, so they bend quicker, and they spread easier under light pressure. So really good for detailing. But in order to be good for detailing, you have to have a light hand. A lot of people get frustrated with sables because if you have a heavier hand, they give you a very thick line very quickly, whereas a synthetic might give you a thin line like you want. So that's why we play around with them. I generally paint with a lot of synthetics. I've been using this number 3 because it's one of our first US-made brushes, and I've just been beating it up to see how it works.
And this is a great segue question. That brings up a question. How much better is your good synthetic versus your dauntless synthetic brush?
They're going to be very, very similar until they're not. The pro synthetics will last longer in general. Again, if you're a very delicate painter, they can both last forever. So if you have a very delicate hand, very experienced, know what you're looking for out of a brush. A Dauntless brush, I painted with them for, 18 months?
Yeah, you painted for a long time.
The two sample brushes that we were using as we were building them were, I had two number 4s, I think, and I painted a number 4 and a number 2. And I painted with them for 18 months. Every model that you saw me paint, I painted with those brushes mainly, 80%. And they were great. I can vary my brush pressure, and I have I can have a very delicate hand when need be. And then when I start beating them up and pressing into them and stuff like that, the tip will square off a little bit like synthetics will. I show you in my videos how to avoid tip curl, but they will still blunt off over time, right? Because it's plastic, so it wears down to a nub when you keep painting with it. Same with sables. They'll do the same thing over time. Your hair, your hair follicles in your head, the more you do like this all the time, you'll break your hair. Same with a sable brush. The more you rub it on a model, the more bristles will break and splay off the side, and you trim it and keep taking care of it. But as long as you can condition it, it'll last a long time. But that's really it. The quality control, the Dauntless brushes are made in an automated factory rather than by hand, whereas the Pro Synthetics are made by hand. So they are sturdier construction, sturdier ferrule, things like that. We took on the Dauntless brushes, we still wanted a great brush, but we put less effort into the manufacture of it so that we could offer it at a better value for you. So it still works really well. But what we don't say is that it's a good beater brush, and for people that are experienced, it's a great brush to take you on down the road too. Just a great way to jump into the hobby and see, questions like this, hey, can you talk to me about weight of stroke, your brush control, things like that. For people that are trying to get in and see the difference, much easier to buy the Dauntless brushes and not spend a fortune on them and test out how you think your brush stroke is. See how something like that performs with a little bit of stiffness in it before you go spend $30 a brush for sables.
It's a great segue question again.
What would you recommend for someone who has a heavy hand when painting and goes through brushes every 3 months or so? The Dauntless brushes. Yeah, the Dauntless brushes. For sure. They'll treat you like a king. You'll get great work out of them for both basing and heavy-fisted stuff, and you'll also get better detail out of them under pressure than you would from a sable. Like I said, sables with a heavy hand give you thicker, more paint most of the time, and people who paint with a heavy hand and use sables tend to have a hard time controlling line thickness. You can't get thin lines as easy as you will with a synthetic. Yeah, Rattlecan. I've beaten the crap out of my Dauntless, and I love them.
And for all of you who are new here, that link takes you to the set that he is talking about specifically.
Wirehead, yeah, that's why I mentioned a calligraphic pen nib, same kind of thing. You press and it spreads the little fork tongue at the end.
Great questions, by the way.
Yeah, brush control is huge, and we talk about it a lot in terms of as you start painting. I say, what's the first thing I tell a beginner? The first thing is to just grab a brush, cheap, expensive, whatever you want to afford, and just put paint on the model. Start trying to get paint in the areas, because we're painting tiny coloring books, and you got to stay inside the lines in order to make the page look good when you're done. So the little models that we paint, just get the paint in the right area. Make sure the boots have the brown, and the pants have the blue, and the tunic has the green, and the sword has the silver, and just make sure you don't get outside the lines. For a lot of people, that's where you start. It's really that basic. Your model will look great if you just stay inside the lines. You can just do one color on everything and put a wash over it, and it looks good. And then you can start doing the different techniques like base coat, dry brush, wash, and then highlight. That can look really good and be a very quick way to paint. And if you get efficient at it, it can be a spectacular way to paint. I still know a lot of people that do, believe it or not, do like studio level painting and use that style of technique. They just have nuanced it to where when they go back and do their highlight, they layer back over their wash just with one brush stroke to bring it back up and force the shadows down low and not up on top, things like that. So somebody had asked earlier if we can start showing some of that. And we can show some fun, easy ways to paint that don't require you to buy a whole nother line of paints or anything like that. You can use it with all the paints you have and love already. JMB and Panda Tabletop Gaming says, you've learned so much from me, and at first you didn't know that's where Proacryl is made. Oh no! We do a horrible job of telling you. We make Proacryl.
We do.
Also encourage them to paint a lot lighter and their control will go up, says the guy who's just discovering this. Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, like I said, when a lot of people ask me about airbrushes, what are the good ways to practice an airbrush? But if you go back to my hand, one of the best ways to practice your brush control is to do that. Do varied line thicknesses. Do varied line thicknesses and then try to keep the thickness good and straight over about an inch. Very rarely will you have to paint longer than an inch with a straight line in our hobby. If you are, you're edging the highlight on a tank, and you can stop and start and be okay, right? You don't have to pull the whole thing. But if you can freehand a nice thin line for about 1 inch or 2 inches, depending, because pulling that line, I talk about painting a straight line in one of our videos, right? It's all about not moving. It's all about just using it from your elbow and pulling the line, not trying to do it with your hand necessarily. And so being able to do this kind of stuff and practice it on a sheet of paper or whatever is going to help you a lot, because you'll start getting an understanding of, okay, when I go touch them, and you bang the brush, it gives you a big splotch. And my normal brush stroke makes a thing that's 2 millimeters wide. That's pretty heavy. Try to just release your pressure. Hold the brush lighter. I always say, and this is not a joke, right? I always say that if I see you painting and I can come up and pull on the brush, I should be able to take it right out of your hand. You shouldn't be such a death grip on your brush that I can't get it out of your hand. It really is a tool that should just be held light enough for you to get a feel for it. If somebody were to come up here at any time when I'm painting and I didn't react to them, they'd be able to just take the brush right out of my hand without me having to change my grip or anything. It really is. Like sometimes you probably notice I'll be painting or whatever, and as I go to move, I might almost drop the brush because I have such a light hold on it that I'll forget that when I'm moving my hand, I probably ought to stiffen my grip so I don't throw the loaded brush across the model and leave a stroke, which I've done in my life, right? So there's all sorts of things that go along with that, but practicing those types of things. Like if I told you, if you came up to me and Chris goes, "Hey, I want to join a softball league, adult softball league with your church."
Okay.
I said, "Fantastic, I'd love to do that." There is no way I'm going to my first softball game without it first going to the batting cages and practicing batting, because I haven't batted in 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to go to the batting cages, and I'm going to get my swing back down and start getting a rhythm for it and get my hand-eye coordination back, because I love doing that, but I'm not going to do it until I've gone and practiced. Why should painting be any different? If you want to look like the pictures you see that you love, practice. Practice painting the models. You don't have to just go to the batting cage and swing for nothing. You can actually practice painting the model that's going to give you that reward when you hit it, right? I can go to the batting cage, and if I really get under one, nobody's there to see it. Doesn't matter. I'm just telling stories. If you practice on a model, just a throwaway Space Marine or something, and you really nail it, then you've got it to look at, to refer back to. It's an awesome piece you can hold on to and be like, that is what I need to focus on making my stuff look like. Huge. So practice is a big thing, though. If you're starting out new, one of the things that I can say is try to corral the enthusiasm into some version of practice, right? Even if it's just you paint 3 times a week when you're getting started, pick one of those days and do some lines on paper or do some lines on a model and practice your brush control. Practice the things that are going to be important that, like somebody mentioned before, not a whole lot of people tell you about. Right. These are either the secrets they don't want to tell or the things that have become so commonplace for the artists that they don't remember to talk to you about them in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. Or that they're just learning themselves. There's some big painters out there like John, right, who are just finding this stuff out on their own, right? How important it is as they go through and, they go and talk to larger artists as they're pursuing their competition painting and things like that. They're getting feedback from people like Eric Swinson, and Eric Swinson knows about brush control, right? He lives and breathes brush control, and he knows about value and volume. He lives and breathes that stuff. It's why his models look so freaking spectacular, because he's painting in a mathematical sense and letting his creativity follow the mathematics. Art is both sides of your brain. A lot of people say that it's one side where you're creative and the other side where you're logical, and I push back that true art is formed by when both parts of your brain work together in concert, because the logic knows how light works, the creative part puts color to it, right? So we drive ourselves to do these really cool things, but it means we have to have practice so that the creative side has a way to expose itself and not get laughed at. That's the reality.
There you go.
Do it, Chris. Okay, adult softball at Chris's church now.
Hey, it's just about that time, Jason.
To leave? Did I go out with a bang?
There it is.
That was a pretty good talk for the end of the show.
That was.
You borrowed Vince V's method of practicing on an older ogre model from an old Dogs of War unit. Nice, yeah. I love that old ogre model. He uses it to paint tons of things. Yeah, we all have got, if you're brand new, you may not have this plethora of pile of shame, we call it, to play from, but there's probably a model you can grab. If you have a 3D printer, grab one of those. I will tell you this, for practicing, one of the coolest ways to do it is go to the dollar store, if they still have them, and buy a bag of Green Army Men. Right? Toy store, dollar store, order them on Amazon, get a bag of Green Army Men, prime them. They're horrible plastic. They're horrible detail. They look like melted humans. There's no detail to them. They are fantastic for priming and painting. Number one, it's hard to pick out the details, so you'll have to go in with a create your own detail mentality, which sometimes will help you into your brush control, because like where the collar of the shirt hits the neck is always really soft detail on those things. And so you'll have to paint a nice straight line there to distinguish between the skin tone and the shirt tone, even if you're just doing one color. So it helps you with that brush control. Because if you go in with a heavy hand, you'll notice very quickly, oh, the collar looks all distorted. And so you'll have to control it. So sometimes it's fun with those practice models. That should be one of our challenges, is to paint a Green Army Man.
Yeah, I was thinking
that would be a great one, because it is a fantastic practice piece. We talk about it a lot in terms of new people. Go out and grab some. Don't spend a lot of money. Don't buy an Army set that you don't want to get some Space Marines to practice on. If you have a 3D printer, they're all damn near free. The cost of your resin and time to print some models, you can paint whatever. If you don't have a 3D printer, go get some Green Army Men. At the dollar store, they're literally like $2.99 for a bag of 30.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can just prime those things and go to town. You've always got one you can pull off and try a technique. They're great for texturing. They're about, I want to say they're about 40 millimeters tall, so they're bigger than normal miniatures in most cases. They make even bigger ones, so, you know, get a smattering of those if you can find them and practice on them. They're great. They're absolutely great.
Paul's got a couple
Paul
questions
says, can you
here.
explain value and volume again? Yes. So value is brightness of a color. It goes from 0, which is black, no brightness, right? No we're not really talking about reflectivity. That's another thing, but no brightness. Black at 0, 10 is white, is the easy way to think about it. There's some other scales of value, but 0 to 10 is the way to think about it. 0 black, 10 white. Okay. You don't get brighter than white. You don't get darker than black. Okay. And everything else exists in between those two colors. So you have a hue, like go back to the table here real quick, Chris, if you got a minute.
Yeah.
You're coming over to my house tonight. So I know you have some minutes. You have to follow me home. So these two, right? Here's what I would call probably a 3 and a 4, right? Because I'll show you white again. Here's white at 10, right? And black's down here someplace. And black is at 0, right? Mm-hmm. And so I got those wrong. This is probably like a 3, and this is probably a 4. Right? Or a 4 and a 5. They're in the mid-range values, right? And so then you can start loading in the colors in between, right? 10, so this is going to be maybe 5, maybe 4, and then you've got other colors that can go in between. That's value, right? So you want, when I say value scaling brings volumes based on the placement of your dark and light colors on the model. So volume is like when we say grabbing a magic card, right? So value is brightness. Volume is when we start using brightness to give something shape, right? Here's the old drawing, right? If you go to art class, they give you this, the circle and the line, make it 3-dimensional. How do you do that? Well, that's volumes, right? So I have to say, okay, well, I do that by saying one of the sides of this sphere is going to be shaded, right?
Can you scoot up a little?
Oh, perfect. One of the sides of the sphere is going to be shaded. So that then started giving me that. And then I say, okay, and as I get closer into the dark side, right, I go in and I do more shading. So with a pencil and without actually going in and smudging it, I'm going to create values by hatching. So I have bright, not so bright, darker, and then I come in and I do something like this. And I've created 4 values now, right? I got 1, 2, 3, 4 values on here, okay? And those 4 values, when you put them together, give you volume. The volume now shows that this has some 3-dimensional shape, okay? And then you can do you've got like the shadow that would be here, and that would follow the same thing. And so now you know your light direction, right? And your shadow is formed. Right, and so this is creating volume in a 2-dimensional sense to create 3-dimensional feel, okay, in a very rough way. Now, we already on our models have them in 3 dimensions. They already have shape. What we're trying to do is make sure that we put dark colors, low value colors, in the shadows where the shadows would be, like the inside of the legs there, the underside of the shoulder plate, right, the underside of the underarms, inside of the arms, so that when you look at it, this still looks like a cylinder, right? You can't rely on this model to cast its own shadow because it's so small. So you can't just paint one color of red, one value of red on here and expect to get all this nuanced shadow, where I go from the bright red to the not so bright to a little bit darker to super dark. That's volume. You can, without a doubt, look at this model and tell the shape of everything on here because I've given it, well, maybe not the sword yet because I haven't put one color on there. But I even left the darkness on the bottom of the blade, so I do have a little bit of volume there. I do have the ability to tell that there's a bevel in the middle, right, that's a peak, and then it drops off on the other side. But everything else, we've spent time putting the brightness up top, the shadow down below. When you do that, you give it the shape of the thing again, which is the volume, okay? It gives it three-dimensional look, even though it is in 3 dimensions already. That's what volume is. Value is using brightness to get there. Brightness and darkness. Make sense?
Yeah.
Ta-da! We do it a thing.
Nice bit. I like that bit.
I like that bit.
That was a good bit. Paul says, thank you so much. Paul, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like Flapsack says, volumes are 3D versions of shapes. Use value to define volumes on the model. Correct. When it already has volume, you're using your brightness and darkness to accentuate that volume for the eye so it doesn't get lost. And if you start flat in 2-dimensional world, you have to create all that volume from scratch. So you have to know where it all goes. That's why 2D art, in my opinion, can be a lot more difficult than the standard painting of a model because the model is already defined for you. You just have to follow the guidelines that it gives you. But now you're creating the light direction. So you're saying where the volumes shift on the model, so it has a little bit of the same nuance. But yeah, somebody asked, volumes are shapes, yes, and values just contrast. Value creates contrast by combining low and bright values together, and contrast is the differentiation where the eye gets pulled for interest, right? If it's all one color, it's not interesting. As soon as you take one color and put a contrasting color brightness-wise next to it, then we go right to where they meet is the most important part of what you created. So that's how you tell stories and move the eye around art in a more complex sense. When you put areas of contrast, right, there's like the Fibonacci curve and all this kind of stuff where they talk about where to place interest and contrast and bring it into the foreground and background, because then it moves the eye around the image in a pleasing manner. For models, we don't think about it necessarily as much because they're already kind of defined, but you can still do those things. Yet an art teacher whose favorite line was, paint what is between the empty places where the light is stopped by something. Paint what is between the empty places where the light is stopped by something.
Like
I would have to noodle that
like
for a
a
minute.
shape. Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
I'd have to noodle that. It's not jumping out at me with clarity right now. Clip it, send it to the printers. Well, thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Amazed that you guys choose to spend your, I know time is valuable. So thank you for spending your valuable time with us and for hiding from the boss to do so if you're at work, or just hanging out with us in your free time if you're not.
That's right.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much for being part of the community. We do this live Monday through Friday.
Tell us where we're going to be. We got big stuff coming up this week.
Holy cow, we got big stuff coming up this week.
TwitchCon.
Jen and I, okay, so we will be at TwitchCon in San Diego at the San Diego Convention Center. Jordan will be there teaching a class. He will also be along with Grant and Brennan from production, and Grant, our new community manager, who has been from production. They will be out there doing a paint and take at TwitchCon as well. So if you're in the Twitchosphere and you're going to San Diego, that'll be great to meet those guys on the team.
Yep.
I and Jen will be flying to meet with Mally, our EU managing director at SMC in Eindhoven in the Netherlands. We will be there starting on Thursday. And so for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be in Eindhoven for SMC. It's going to be a blast. So if you're there, come stop by and try out some Pro-Acryl. We'll have the whole booth set up. We'll be selling the paints and painting and having fun. We got some neat guest painters coming into the booth. That'll be a good time.
Yep.
And then next week is Spiel in Essen, Germany. So Gabe will be over there with Mally at Spiel. So it's a huge show. We've got the same booth, and we'll be selling over there for you guys. So it is a cram-packed 2 weeks. Holy cow. What a way to go out. This is like the end of the shows for us this year, thank goodness. But what a packed freaking October.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere. The European office and all the things in Europe really jam-packed us. And Twitch came out of nowhere. Last year, this was our breathing month where we didn't have to do a whole lot.
We don't breathe.
So now we get no breath and no sleep. We'll be traveling around, so it'll be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So thanks so much. So thanks so much for joining us. Remember, we do this stream. It's free to you guys. Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona from Monument HQ. Please go visit our monumenthobbies.com website here in the States and monumenthobbies.eu if you're over in Europe. Or visit the FLGS link that Chris put in chat to find a friendly local gaming store near you that sells our products. Support those who support you. We love you guys. Thanks for the support over the years. We'll be looking forward to doing some more painting tomorrow. I may be on stream on Wednesday.
Oh, I thought you were leaving.
We leave at 6.
Oh, I thought you left 6 in the morning.
No, 6 at night.
Oh.
I don't know. I might be pushing it.
That's pushing.
We probably got to get to the airport earlier than that, right? We got to be at the airport by the end of the stream.
Yeah. With all the...
So maybe
not. You're good.
But I'll be here at least tomorrow. And then Chris and the gang will be taking you off into the weekend for the rest of the week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's right.
So thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'd love to see you back here. Hit the follow and the subscribe buttons. Make sure to stick around. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid. Show some love in the chat we wind up in for some more hobby goodness throughout your evening. And we will catch you back here mañana. Adios, gang.